MWWJY on time since 8:30. Gonna switch over to Studio B and say good morning to you, Brother Michael Jenkins. I hadn't seen you since last year.
Last year, buddy. And Happy New Year to you, Tater. And Happy New Year to everyone out there. Welcome to 2026. That number even sounds crazy. I mean, when you think about when you're a kid that grew up in the 60s, and then you hear them talk about 2025, 2026, those were just, it wasn't even real to us back then. Nobody could see past basically 2000. And now we are 26 years past 2000. Time's moving on. Time's moving on, folks. Well, I wish you a happy new year. And wish each and every one of you the best of everything in this new year. Health to your family, health to yourself, whatever that you feel you need, to be okay. That's what I wish for you. The basketball season is speeding right along. And all the holiday festivities and tournaments and jamborees are over. So the question now is, where is your team as we speak? Want to take a look at the local teams, including Marion, Mullins, Latta, Dillon, Lakeview, the teams closest to us, and then we will venture out beyond that into the Florence area because there's a lot going on over there as well. And let's start out by taking a look at what the Swamp Foxes have done. Now, they've had a really good holiday season of playing, and if you hadn't heard already, they won the Pepsi Classic tournament over there. That's the first time they've won it in many, many years. And they had won it twice, I think, back in the day with Terrell and Quincy and those guys. And then Mullins came along later to win it like 3 times in a row. So Swamp Foxes got it done. At this moment, they have a record of 8-6. Kind of amazingly that Mullins has the exact same record. But 8-6, and what do we have? I think they're 2-1 in the conference. They are ranked number 118 in the state of South Carolina. I think they will continue to go up from there. Good morning, Alice Brunson Leggett, and one of my favorite players ever, Miss Deanna Graves. Deanna, how you doing, dear? Well, this is how Marion started their season. There was a game against Latta in which they won 65-51. They then dropped one that they should have won against Atlantic Collegiate Academy. They lost that game 50-46. I didn't witness that one. Then they played Myrtle Beach and they got handled 59-43. They played Lexington. They got handled 59-37. And they got handled by St. James 68-44. Now, what most of these schools have in common, that they're bigger schools, 5As, 4As, whatever. So I like the approach that the coach is taking, playing bigger, tougher schools to get themselves ready for the playoff. Michael Davis, good morning. How are you, sir? But after that 4-game stretch of losses, they began to turn things around, and they beat Johnsonville 67-42. That was back on the 10th of December. On the 12th, they handled King Street 58-39 before dropping a 74-58 verdict to Dillon. Now, the Dillon game, you have to put in some caveats there, and that is that Marion was without two starters. Their point guard was on crutches and their big man was in street clothes. So they didn't win that game. Then the Mullins game, 66-60 in overtime in Mullins, before dropping a 60-48 decision to Hampton County. Then they beat somebody named, I think it's Mountain Prep, MPTHS. They beat them 68-61. They handled West Florence 75-59. And they met Mullins in the semifinals of the Pepsi Classic, and they beat Mullins by 3 in this one, 60-57. Before going on to the final against Gaffney, you know Gaffney's a 5A school, they knocked off Gaffney 57-39 to claim the Pepsi Classic championship. I'm pretty sure that Ian Goss was the MVP of the tournament. He was joined on the all-conference team, I believe, by Charles White. Charles White he played very well for them. He might have, he was outstanding, but Ian Goss got the nod, and that's a very positive for Marion, having a big man like that is really coming into his own. He's only in the 10th grade, so keep that in mind. Let's take a look at their roster right now and see basically who's doing what. Okay. There's Charles White II. He's a senior, 6'4", 468 pounds. Charles is their leader in almost every category, especially scoring, offensively, and all that. Ian Goss is a 6'8" sophomore. Okay, and you can't underestimate what that means for the Marion High School basketball program. That means you really got this guy for the next 2 years, and he's just really starting to flex his muscles. He's a little slender, so he'll put on some weight over the next couple of years, and he'll get better. Joshua Grant has really impressed everybody around here. He didn't have a great game in the championship game over there in Florence, but he has been playing pretty solid for Marion since he came aboard. Roderick Dickerson is the one that I've spoken about many times here. He's a power forward. He's a garbage man. He is do whatever he has to do to help his team win. And I'll tell you something. I'm as impressed with him as I am with anybody else on the basketball team right now. So he's going to pay big dividends down the road as well. He's only a sophomore. So you got your two front court guys, the power forward and the center, and they're both just in the 10th grade. That bodes well going forward for Marion. So that's pretty much, let me take a look at what each of these guys have done individually, get a better idea of what they are doing. Okay, so Charles has played in 11 games. He's averaged 19 points. He's averaged 5.4 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.3 steals, and a little less than a block shot per game. So he's been solid. Let me see what this other kid has did here. Yep, it's starting to rev up, folks. Let me see what Ian has done. Ian Goss. Stats. Ian has played 12 games. And he has averaged 11.1 points per game, 1.2 assists per game, which is impressive for a guy that is a big guy that sometimes plays facing the basket, so he can pass the ball as well. Rebounding, 7.1. Steals, 1.1. And he's getting about 2.5 blocks per game, which is impressive. Dolores Williams, I saw your grandson out there on the field last week. He's all over the place. I'm glad to see that he's back, healthy, or at least playing again as his team heads into the playoff. I wouldn't be at all surprised if TJ ends up with a Super Bowl ring this year, because the way I see it, Buffalo has to be one of the favorites. So, let's go back to basketball now, and let's take a look at this other kid here, this Roderick Dickerson guy, who has impressed beyond all impress. Here we go. Roderick. As I said, Roderick is a sophomore. Roderick has played 13 games, putting up 7.3 points per game, 1.3 assists per game, 4.1 rebounds a game, a steal, and less than a block. Excuse me. So Roderick has really paid dividends for them. I told you the first time I seen him was back when he was in middle school. And he was playing point guard then. And I was impressed with what I saw then. I just didn't necessarily like him at point guard. But he can handle the basketball. And he can do battle inside in the painted area. So Roderick he's big for Marion right now. And they're lucky. Not lucky. I mean, he was in the system the whole time. But it's played well for him. And you'll see his worth more as the season goes on, because he will give great support to the other front court people, and he's going to get better. Stats wise, this is Joshua Grant played in 11 games, averaged 10.2 points per game, averaged 3.9 assists per game, 4.8 rebounds, and that's an impressive number right there. He's a point guard. He's pulling down almost 5 boards a game, coming away with almost 3 steals a game, and statistically has registered in the block shots department. So he's done well. Good morning, Ronald Rao. How are you today? Also, the lovely Miss Sylvia W. Crawford. How are you today? I know you got a birthday this month. Me too. Johnny Nichols, what's going on? So that's the story with Marion. They're in pretty good shape, as is Mullins. They've played tough games this year so far, a lot of bigger teams. And that should help them out greatly going forward as we get into the playoff and all those tough teams in their division that they're going to have to beat are out there. So, as far as rankings go, let's see. 2A. We'll take a look at the 2A rankings in which Marion and Mullins are both a part of. And Mullins right now is ranked 8. And Marion is ranked 12. Of course, they have another. I want to say something before I go on. I want to ask and beg some more to the fans and to the players. Please leave the violence and madness at home. The kids don't need it. If you feel you have to do these things, don't even come to the game. Everybody else is there to do what? Watch a game. They're not there to see you act crazy, start pushing and shoving, acting like you want to fight. Nobody needs that. You know, I've even started to hesitate on bringing my grandboys to basketball games. I don't want them around that. I don't want to have to protect them from you. And nobody else should have to either. Now, in the Mullins and Marion game, I didn't really talk about it. There was some pushing and shoving. People act like they wanted to fight. Please stop it. Stay away. There's plenty of fields and stuff out there for you to go around and do that madness. Don't bring it to the basketball game. Fans paid their good money to get in there, to see a game, and here you come with your craziness. Stop it. I beg you to please stop it. Anyway, this was a public service announcement brought to you by... No, but I'm serious, though. We got to leave this craziness alone. So that's where Marion and Mullins are right now. I'm going to go over to the Mullins side of the equation. As I said, the Auctioneers are 8-6. They just played in some games down at Carolina Forest. And they're doing fine. 8-6, 2-1 in the conference. They started the season losing to Waccamaw and to Georgetown, 56-45 and 57-49, respectively. They then got their first win over Andrews, 65-50. And then they pulled what might have been the biggest upset, or the biggest, upset of the year so far, knocking off Atlantic Collegiate Academy down there, 64-57. Now, last year when Mullins beat them in Mullins, people were saying, oh, well, the Atlantic Collegiate didn't have all their players, this and that. Mullins beat them clean last year. But nobody really wanted to give them credit for it, supposedly because of all of the players that these guys had that were not playing in that game. Well, Mullins came back and did it again and beat them clean. So, and then the loss to Marion. They nipped Marlboro County High School 57-53. Old Buster over there, the head coach for the Bulldogs. They beat Lake City 76-58 before dropping a 3-point decision to Berkeley 71-68. As I said, Burke, they got by them 61-58. So you lost by 3 to Berkeley, and you turn around, you beat Burke by 3. So you did good down there in the Low Country. South Florence, they got them 62-44 before losing to Marion again in the Pepsi Classic. Powdersville, Mullins got them 67-53. This was in the Pepsi Classic too. And then they lost to somebody called CCEHS 52-50 on the first. On the first? They played on the first? Wow. Okay. On the second, they beat Johnsonville 76-53. And I think they played another game as well. But Mullins is doing fine. As I said, if you look at these teams that I've just called out that they played against, there are a lot of bigger schools. Good morning, Miss Hemingway. How are you? One of my favorite people in the world. I won't say why. That'd be our secret. Anyway, so now Mullins. Let's see. Today is the 3rd, right?
Yep.
Mullins. They have a game down at Carolina Forest there. I'm pretty sure at 3:30. So double check me on this thing, because I've been known to send people on wild goose chases for games, including myself, where the game was somewhere else. Anyway, Manning is on the 6th, and then they are at East Clarendon. They will play Loris, and that's going to be early. That's going to be on the 10th. It's probably going to be one of those multi-team games, multi-level team games. And on the 10th, Dillon. That should be a good one right there as well. King Street comes next. Oceanside Collegiate Academy. See, Mullins they're not playing. They want to play tough people. Marion, they want to play tougher schools. They want to get themselves ready for the postseason. And this is the way to do it. Early season, a lot of bigger schools. Get your feet wet with that. Then you'll know what you have to do going forward. Let me take a quick little musical break here, Tater, for a second. I'll be right back with you folks in just a second.
No can do can take away this love that I found.
Hello. Pretty good. How you doing there? Uh-huh. Hey, I tell you what, let me call you back. Call me back in about 10 minutes. I got some I'm not gonna do. Yeah, call me back. Okay then. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
We're back. We are back, and now we are going to venture into some of our neighbors, like Dylan, for instance. Dylan Wildcats right now are doing extremely well at 11-2, and of course, one of those wins was against Marion. Let's take a look at Dylan. Oh boy, I don't want that. This is Dylan girls. They're 11-2. Yep, treasure in them. Let me try to find the Dylan boys here and see what they're doing. Yep, it's a little bit Dylan, here we go. Dylan football U. And this is the boys right here for Dylan. And they're doing well. They're doing well too. They're in at 8-4 right now. And Tariq Nolan, what's going on, bro? Your little brother's coming along nicely. You must have been working with that kid. I know you have. Okay, so Dylan, as I said, sitting at 8-4. And I'm trying to see their schedule here. They started out the season with a 58-31 win over Lakeview. Then they took Lakeview again. A couple days later, 57-35. They beat Carver's Bay 63-48 before dropping a 50-47 decision to Latta. I know that didn't sit well over there. They beat Marion 74-58. They got beat by Darlington. And I'm starting to hear about Darlington now. I'm going to do a little research on it later on. But Darlington is coming along as well. Remember a couple years ago they had a really serious team with serious talent, and they played in Florence in that state championship game. Purnell Sweat. They beat Dillon 50-46. Dillon beat St. Paul's on the 18th of December 55-18. They beat Scotland 62-60 on the 20th. On the 26th, they lost to LMA. I don't know who that is. 72-38 before beating East Clarendon, Calhoun County in succession. Loris is up on the 9th. That's a conference game, and that's a game that I'm sure that many of the local fans are looking forward to because Loris is good. Good morning, Pamela Owens-Beatty. How are you doing today, ma'am? Now, let's go to Latta. How's Latta doing? Well, Latta's sitting at 6-3 right now, 1-1. The next game is Latta will play a home game against Hemingway. It's on the 6th of January. But their schedule went this way here. They lost to Marion. They lost to East Clarendon before beating East Clarendon by 1 a couple days later. They beat Dillon. They beat Chesterfield. They lost to Carver's Bay. Hannah Pampico, they beat them 61-50. Now, Virtus Academy is kind of interesting because when I first seen their name up here, I said that Virtus Academy sounded familiar. Turns out it's my grandson's school. Turns out it's the high school part of my grandson's school. And they've got a team and they're up and running. So now I'm trying to encourage him. He plays soccer, but I'd like to see him one day on that Virtus Academy basketball team. But anyway, I digress. So LCA, they beat them 63-38. And of course, they got Hemingway coming up, and then Lakeview again, and Johnsonville, as the season rolls forward. Let's see. Lakeview boys not doing very well this year. I know that. They're at 0-6 right now, according to Max Prep. And let me see what they've been into and what got them to this point right now. Well, they got beat by Dillon 2 nights in a row, 58-31 and 57-35. They got beat by somebody else named DCHS. They got beat by them twice, 54-42 and 64-57. And they hadn't played a game, looks like, since the 18th of December. So, not a great year down there for our friends at Lakeview. Now, Marion girls have been making some noise lately as well. I would be remiss if I didn't mention their journey so far. Strom Thurmond. Marion beat them 44-31 way back on the 28th of November. Then they lost to Ben Lippen. Then they beat Latta girls by 5. Then they lost to Atlanta Collegiate Academy 56-34 back on the 4th of December. Myrtle Beach, they beat them 35-25. They lost to St. James by 5, 41-36. They beat Johnsonville before they went into a 3-game swoon. They lost to Kingstree, Dillon, and Mullins. Now, as far as those games go, especially the Dillon game, Marion was without their star player, I'm sure, in that game. I don't think she played that game. Anyway, then they got beat by Mullins, 32-27. Since that time, they have won 1, 2, 3, 4. They won 4 out of the next 5. So, now one thing I know about those Marion girls, they played games. Over the last several years, Chris had them, and they got a lot of ball under their belts, you might say. And they're coming around now because they beat, I think this was up in Chesterfield. They beat Hartsville, and they beat Central up there. So anytime you can beat Hartsville, it's a good year for you. But they have been playing extremely well. You've been hearing the buzz. They've got some girls on the JV team that at some point are going to be able to help them, like really help them. Dolores Cross, your granddaughter, is one of them, and I'm looking forward to seeing her come of age. And then Jamonica has a daughter down there. She's in the 7th grade. She's a big girl. I think with those two kids right there, Marion girls basketball have a great looking future going forward. There's some talent coming up there. Dolores Cross's granddaughter, she's going to be a beast. I mean, I seen her last year playing Dillon in a middle school game. I went to Dillon just to see her play. And she dominated. She had to do everything out there. She was playing guard, she was playing forward, she was playing center, she was blocking shots, she was making steals. I'm telling you, folks, this little girl's going to be a problem. Remember I told you that. Now, her mom, Ashley, was an outstanding player as well. Ronald Lewis says, good morning. Cowboys will beat the Giants on Sunday. So this is what you're hanging your hat on these days. Really, Ron Lewis? Beating the Giants? That's an accomplishment for the Cowboys at this juncture in their lives? Really? Well, have at it, my friend. You're probably right. They're probably going to beat the Giants. Because the Giants are bums. And the Cowboys are bums too. But the Eagles are now in the playoff again. The Eagles have been to the Super Bowl, 3 years in a row. The Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl this year. And the Cowboys are not. And it's really sad that at this point in your Cowboy fan existence, you're talking about a Week 17 game against the lowly, pathetic Giants. Well, thank you very much. Anyway, my friend, Happy New Year to you. And I hope your next football season will be better. Chances are it's not going to be. You play for the Pokers, man. I saw some good stuff with Wilson girls and South Florence girls as well. Now, they played in the championship game of the Pepsi Classic, and it was a war. it looks like Wilson girls are going to run off and hide in that one. But South Florence came all the way back to take a lead, believe it or not, and they were trying to win that game. But Wilson, from a little transfer girl they got from Sumter, who's just in the 9th grade this year, she was absolutely unbelievable in helping the Tigers, the Lady Tigers, overcome. Let's see, what's her name? Allison Watson. Where did that girl at? Freshman. Oh, for South Florence, they got a kid named Harmony Bostic. This is a big old girl that can do everything. I mean, I was totally impressed with her and what she did out there in that game against Wilson. And then there's another big girl they have. Her name is Madison Randolph. And the two of those girls together, they form a torrid front court. They got a little point guard as well. It's pretty good. But South Florence is good. Wilson is really good. Because Wilson's got the girl that had left there, but she came back. Or let's see what the roster. Let's see. And her name would be Logan Murray. Remember that name? Sure, a lot of you already know it. Anyway, folks, that's all the time I've got left. Ravens play today against the Steelers. They got to win or they're done. And they're waiting to roast Lamar Jackson. But let's go Ravens today. Anyway, folks, that's all the time I got. I'm out. Later.